All right, so let's go over this. I'm gonna give some guidance for today. In this early stage, it's 2:20 my time here in Israel. So yeah, we were looking at the closure of this gap right here, which we will see being done and fulfilled probably throughout the day today. 1 minute we can skip it. 5 minutes does look indicative as if we're gonna burst out of the range we've been moving in. By the way, yes, all these support and resistance levels have been known far in advance. As you can see, they have been tested and retested many times. You should be aware of them by now. But the technical investor analyst super ninja that you're listening to you on YouTube didn't tell you about it, nor does he or she understand it. And guess what? You didn't know about it. Now you're being caught off guard, and now you have to change your entire thesis from today and to tomorrow, and from yesterday to today, and all that wonderful stuff. That's fucking hilarious, just hilarious. But anywho, the point being is that it seems that we're testing these two levels right now. We're in that narrow minefield, if you will. We are being subject to the channel still on some of the time frames. And what appears to be the case is that we're probably going to close that gap today. Yes, it may drag out for another day, in fact, all the way to Monday, although I do not believe that to be the case, given how the momentum structured right now, given that we will be in market open in about 2 hours. So, just generally looking at it, we most time frames that are kind of medium sized ish, smaller medium, if you will, are on the bullish side of things. Our daily is somewhat bullish, again, within bearish territory. Remember, anything and everything below 50 on the stochastic RSI is within bearish territory, in sold territory, oversold territory, if you will. So, but in realistically speaking, we are having that confluence of forces. We are seeing the short-term moving average indicating that we will have the closure of that gap. In fact, just in general, it is very abnormal, as I highlighted yesterday, or just I'm pretty sure yesterday in the video, telling you how uncommon it is to have that sort of a gap, and nowhere near, it could happen. Actually, my students. Shout out to Midas, your goddamn beautiful legend, figuring out that we do have a couple of small gaps on the continuous contract that were not filled in. It very rarely happens, but even those gaps usually are equal to a couple of dollars, if not cents, and it's just they're not that significant. And there is the argument of the market essentially closing them on one of the paths that will take downwards. But this gap, given how large it is, given how close we are still and have not been able to depart from it far enough not to be magnetized by it, if you will, it is just astounding that it took 2 days. But then again, as I explained it in my video yesterday, it is basically the option people impeding their own sort of thing. They are shooting themselves in the leg. Guess what? The market makers were just waiting for their contracts to expire for them to capitulate. And once they do, suddenly the market does go and close that gap, because most of them did have options and positions expecting to fill in that gap and making profit off of it. But that's the beauty. It doesn't always happen right away, and especially that sort of situation indicates to me that just the opposite, that this has squeezed them out until they've capitulated, and then the market started correcting, creating this larger head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders pattern, pardon me. Uh, pretty normal, I would arguably say. Again, to those who understand the forces, understand why the market behaves the way it does, what is the cycle. Of course, it's been pretty clear and evident right away that this is going to happen. In fact, we spoke about it in my Discord community. Of course, you can join through Patreon right there. You can buy the collection, or you can actually join the community, which is far more beneficial for you. The one-on-one academy, don't sign up through here. This is not the way. You're not meant to pay $1,000 a month. You're not meant to pay $4,000. Of course, if you are not up for the academy yet and you just want to get sort of daily updates, as I do on my Discord, let me brag a little bit. Here is the Discord. Here are the daily, of course, there's the Academy, who get most of the highlights and know about everything in advance. As you can see, I was preparing, breaking down sort of every step of the way, making fun of how random the market is. In fact, ironically enough, even yesterday's video, as it was starting to sort of rally, I had my video being checked by YouTube, and that's why it took so long. So yeah, pretty much the idea is very simple. Join the community, join the Discord. You'll learn a lot about how and why these forces work. They're not random whatsoever. And you'll be able to be your own analyst. You'll not have to be dependent on these very fragile people who, at this point, honestly, I find to be just the YouTube finance sphere is just pathetic, just utterly pathetic. You also get other little fine perks, such as to get access to see my portfolio. You get the options channel, which we have members discussing options and their positions and whatnot. Of course, I'm not big on options. My expertise is within the technical analysis sphere. Also, community exclusives, this is member exclusives, member meetings, academy meetings if you are in the academy, and all sorts of wonderful stuff ahead of everyone, and plenty more other stuff that I probably am forgetting and neglecting to mention. Join in, it's only $30 right now. This is discounted. At the end of the month, this will be hiked to $50, and then another $20 to $70, and then eventually it will be hiked to $100. This is a $100 tier, and it's currently discounted. Sign up now or you'll miss out on it. Once you sign up, you'll stay on this tier forever as long as you stay signed up, and of course you can actually get it even cheaper, $24, and you'll get to see my daily updates, you'll get to participate in the meetings and all that wonderful stuff. That is all, boys and girls. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.